The Invitation is the brand new Sony Screen Gems film coming out this weekend, starting on August 26th. The film stars Natalie Emmanuel and Thomas Doherty and tells a story about Natalie Emmanuel's character who has lost all of her family. Her mom just recently died. She's poor. She's working freelance. She's kind of in no man's land for her life. So she goes to get a DNA test to see if she has any more family out there. She meets a cousin who says, oh, there's a wedding in London. You can meet the whole rest of the family. She brings her out to London, and that's where things might not be as it seems on paper. The film's an hour and 44 minutes, and it's PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here at Max Talks Movies. I'm Max Dinnenberg. If you're new to the channel, please ring that bell so you're notified when my videos drop, and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 120 subscribers, please. Please, let's get there as quickly as possible. I love you guys' support as of late on the channel. It really means a lot to me. So please, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show every single Monday. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. First of all, did you even know that this movie was coming out this weekend? Did you like the trailers? Have you seen a trailer? And if you have seen this movie, did you like it? Did you not like it? And please like the video. That's how you support the channel in a great way. Thumbs up button down below. Please like this video. Helps the algorithm out so more people will be recommended for this review. So for some reason, I've seen no promotion of this movie except in the movie theater, which is kind of different that you don't really see these days. I've seen no footage online, Twitter-wise, YouTube-wise. Every movie or horror type PG-13 movie that I've seen in the last couple of months, they have shown this trailer. So I knew this was coming out. It's a horror film, but Sony Screen Gems for me is not one of my favorite studios. It's made films like When the Bow Breaks, The Perfect Guy, The Intruders. They've made a lot of different types of films, but they're known for those kind of bad movies. But I love Natalie Emmanuel, even though you'll probably hate me guys after I say this, but I don't really watch Game of Thrones. So I know that's where she broke out. But Natalie Emmanuel has been really good for such a long time with the Fast and Furious franchise, the Maze Runner franchise. She was really good in that Army of the Dead spin-off Army of Thieves. Dark Crystal as a voice. So she's definitely one of the more underrated actresses. And I was really excited because this is one of her first kind of lead roles in this might be one of her biggest lead roles to date. So I was excited for that. It's a horror film. I love horror films done right. So that's my general thoughts on how I even knew this film was happening. And also, as you can tell, I did not read the IMDb as usual bio. I feel like I should be doing that from now on. I see the movie. Some of these sites do spoil the plot in these plot details. So I'm just going to give you my synopsis for the rest of my reviews, TV and movie. So let's get into The Invitation. So my positives, then my negatives, then my score. The biggest positive and sometimes the saving grace of this movie is Natalie Emmanuel. This movie has a lot of similarities, at times too much, too Ready or Not, which is really given now Samara Weaving tons of roles. And it's a very similar role to that. She is, and you really actually care about Natalie Emmanuel. Her mom just died. Her dad died a while ago. She's kind of she's in a rut in her life. And she wants to kind of finally go to London, which is what her and her mom want to do, just meet her family. She really needs family. And I think that her performance is excellent. She's, yes, a pottery person. I don't know how you even say that. An artist. She doesn't like to be called an artist in the movie, but that's really what she is. Without a family, she feels like a real person, and she also can kick a lot of ass. And you can kind of believe it once you get to the third act that she can kick somebody's ass. And she's been a badass for a very long time. And it was just refreshing to see her in a leading role. She's very charming. She's a very likable actress. And I think even if you've never seen her in anything before, which I think is pretty hard to do if you're not watching Game of Thrones, you're not really watching Fast and Furious. If you're those people, I hope you still check this out because she is a really wonderful actress. And if there's any emotion with this film, it's coming through with her character. You're still rooting for her to make it through at the very end of the day. And you want to see and you really care about each step of the movie. Another thing that this movie is intriguing enough of a plot to keep you wanting to keep watching. Even though sometimes the script is pretty bad or the direction or scares or anything like that is not good, the plot is still intriguing enough where you actually want to keep finding out what's going to come next. And I can't say if for that for the worst. Now, this my film. We'll get to my negatives in a second. I don't want to keep harping on it, but I was still intrigued enough. I wasn't like bored out of my mind watching this movie, but I was still intrigued on what was happening next, because the plot, at least itself, you don't see in as many horror films. So Nathalie Emmanuel and the plot kind of keeping me in it for portions of this movie. And also the movie looks great. The mansion where Evie goes to in the movie, it's beautiful. They shot some really beautiful stuff around this mansion. So when they're actually like outside, or you get the shots of the mansion, it's a gorgeous movie from that point of view. But I can't keep saying positives. I really did not like this movie from start to finish. There were tons of problems across the board. As I said, it's at times a Ready or Not ripoff. They kind of maneuver a couple things around. Instead of if you've seen Ready or Not, I'm not going to spoil Ready or Not, but in Ready or Not, Samara Weaving goes to their family's house because she's about to marry their son. And the son has just kind of abandoned this family. Just think it's too weird, but they got to do the wedding at their family's house. And Samara Weaving in that movie, you also just can't tell who's on which side. And the family is the Ladonis family, who owns all these board games. They're very famous and rich. These people in this film are just rich. You don't really understand why they're rich, how they're rich. They're just rich. And it's just very surface level movie. This movie is not scary whatsoever. There was no time. Even the jump scares are bad. These are very cheap jump scares where every time you know when a jump scare is happening, because that's the one part of the movie where there's no music being played. You'll have people walk down a hallway and then the music just stops, and you know that something's going to happen, which takes all of the intensity out of a scene when you can predict each scare scene happening. When you're in a horror movie, you want to be on the edge of your seat. The unexpected is what you want to see in a horror movie, and you get all of the predictability and expectedness of a horror film, which is not what you were. It's a horror thriller that doesn't do any of those two things. There's like one scene in the movie involving a spa that was like the only time I was like, ooh, I was actually kind of intense on the edge of my seat, scared for this scene, not like scared, freaked out, or just like nervous. Other than that, like 3-minute scene, the rest of the movie, it doesn't have thrills, it doesn't have scares. And I think even if this movie had this weak of a script, or this like rip off, I guess, of a script, you at least want to see some fun kills. If there's a loving scene, you want to see a sex scene. But this movie is PG-13, which I have no idea why. These characters, I don't know. I don't think it's spoiled in the trailers who these people are. But there's a lot of killings going on in this movie. And every time they're about to show someone get killed or their arm gets ripped off, the scene cuts to black, like the scene ends, or we just cut away and hear it instead of seeing it. This movie desperately needed a rated R film. So at least it could be like a slasher type film. I think this film took that approach. It could be dumb fun. Not the best movie of the whole world, but still a fun enough time in theater if you're watching people get killed in awful, awful ways. But this movie plays it so safe with a PG-13 rating. Characters, there's one S-bomb and one F-bomb in the movie. And it just seems like they shot a rated R movie, and then the Sony was like, actually, we have to edit this movie to be PG-13. It just feels like this movie was chopped in the editing room to be PG-13, because there's so many kills that you see none of them. And that's also some points of, and yes, PG-13 horror you can do excellently, but this movie plays it so safe with the PG-13 rating. It feels like they shot a whole movie rated R, and then in the editing room they fixed it to be PG-13, like for the TV channels, like cable channels. But it's an actual movie released in theaters. That for me was really disappointing. As I said, it feels way too much like Ready or Not. There isn't even enough. Some people kind of want it to be like a Get Out type thing, but there's not enough social commentary on her being a woman, her being Black, like any of this stuff in an all-white family. It just isn't really brought up enough. And there's some really cheesy dialogue, and the movie wants to rush you so quickly to the mansion. It makes no sense. She says yes to so many things that real people won't say yes to. And that also takes out of the movie. So for me, character choices, the film feels like it was edited down to scraps in the editing room to be a PG-13 movie, and no horror, no scares and no thrills. I still love Natalie Emmanuel, and she was great. Her character was interesting, and the plot itself is still fresh enough that it kept me interested throughout the entire film. But it's still, I can tell you, it's not a good movie. I'm going to give The Invitation a 1.5 out of 5. I'm going to go 30% for The Invitation. I did not like this movie. I'm disappointed because this movie had elements where this could have been a really good or just a dumb slasher movie, and that would have been cool for me. I love fun slasher movies, but this movie doesn't bring you in because it wants to cut away, have a PG-13 rating. Who knows why? I would love to know why, but that's my thoughts on The Invitation. Like the video, subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. More videos are coming. Yesterday, I did this week I've done reviews of season 2 of Only Murders in the Building spoilers, episode 2 of She-Hulk spoiler review. Yesterday, I did a review of the new Prime Video film Samaritan. That review was yesterday. And then I think either on Sunday or on Monday. Well, Monday I'll have my box office breakdown show. And then I also think either Sunday night or Monday morning, you'll have my review of Me Time, the new Netflix film with Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart. Lots of reviews are still coming down the line, guys, on the channel. While there might be a lot of big time movies coming out, I'm still seeing the movies that are coming out in theaters. So please subscribe and like the video. Thanks for watching my review of The Invitation.